Well, genocide is a legal term which has a very particular definition, and I don't think it's necessary to get into that. What we're seeing, I think, I'm afraid, is that there is a the the Russian propaganda all along has been that there's a need to denazify, they call it, Ukraine, i.e., purge Ukraine of the anti-Russian elements, which is kind of how they're spinning this denazification term. And as they found, as I mentioned, more resistance, the uh, conclusion that they apparently have drawn, or at least some of their forces have drawn, is that these Nazi sympathies are much deeper than they expected. They thought the Ukrainians were just being oppressed by Nazi type leaders, and instead it's more part of the population, and therefore those are perhaps, in their view, legitimate targets. And so that's how they're justifying this. Whether it's genocide, whether it's just crimes against humanity, that's a legal question. That's not my area of expertise.
Absolutely. Well, that was actually going to be my question. If war crimes are deemed to officially have been committed, how do you actually get a conviction? Like, how do you hold the perpetrators accountable in the international court?
Well, that's something that I think that's maybe a question more for legal scholars as to how that process moves forward. Obviously, as long as the Putin leadership is in power in Russia, it's going to be very hard to prosecute them for these kinds of things. But nonetheless, I think we can separate the need for an investigation and for a public accounting from the question of whether or not someone would actually end up convicted or not. That's sort of the next step afterwards. But first, we need to know exactly what happened and to have it documented.